Hey, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be putting a NISMO rear cover on a 350Z rear end. We're actually going to a 6-speed car, so we're going to put that rear cover and take the 3-bolt flange off, change our parts over, and show you what you've got to do to get the automatic one ready for the 6-speed rear end. And then the one we've got is actually out of a 06, 07, maybe 08, either 350Z or G35. So it's got a lower gear ratio, so it should be a little stronger for our drift car. But we had the rear end welded up, so you can see that as you're checking us out. And hang out. We're about to put this 350Z rear end together. Thanks, guys. All right, so what we're working on today, you can see the rear diff is welded. That's the factory rear diff, and we're gonna change the parts over, and we're gonna put the NISMO rear diff on this rear end. That's what we're working on today. All right, so we got the rear end for the most part cleaned off. What you do is you actually take like a razor blade. I actually have a filler gauge, a part of one off of a bad kit, and you just get the residue off of this. This just needs to be cleaned here, and I've got all the most of it. So the next step is we'll find us something to catch the drain in it. So you get you something to catch your runoff here as it drains. And then you get you some kind of cleaner here. And we actually welded this thing, so and you find you some kind of rag, and you clean the edge off real good. See how much better it's looking. You want to get all that residue off if you can. So I'm going to finish that up, and like I say, where we did weld it, I'm going to clean some of that out and dump all my waste down into this pan, and that way I don't have it all over the floor, and we'll get the rear end cleaned up and get it ready to put the new piece on. All right, so you can actually see what we got welded. We welded this side up right here. We welded the bottom inside all the way around. Try to move the light here. So all those welded inside, and this is the same way on both sides. So now, what we got to do, when we got the cover off, we got to clean the inside. And where I've sprayed everything inside there, I took some brake cleaner and sprayed inside, and you got to make sure you get all of it out. And so we should be good there. There ended up being a lot of debris in there, so I can't stress enough about cleaning everything out from inside these things. All right. So we got to put our ultra gray Permatex. Got a little bit on the thing, but that's what I use right there. You can get this at any of your auto zones or any of that type of stuff. And the caulk gun's pretty universal. It's nothing spectacular. It's just a regular caulk gun. And so you want to put I'm putting way too much from what I normally put, but you get the point here. If you're doing any kind of drifting or any kind of spirited driving, you definitely don't want the rear end to leak. If it gets hot, that's one thing, but if it gets empty, that becomes a whole different other problem. When it gets too much heat in it, it tends to thin out the oil and it doesn't work as well. But if you run out, there's no fixing that until you're already in trouble. All right. I like my RTV to squish out a little bit. I like to know it's in there doing its job. And you'll see when I tighten it up, does this thing, let's see here. There we go, there's my bolt. There we go, last bolt. All right, and this is a 14 millimeter. That's what this thing takes. I snug them down, and I will do like a star pattern as well. Kind of staggered. But I don't get super tight until I get to the last ones, and then I go back over. There you go. So now we change our speed sensors. I think it's speed sensors. I'm pretty sure it's what that actually is. It goes on the little gear on the insert pieces. But we'll change our speed sensors over in our bolt for our rear mount, and then we'll get our plug back in it, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. We'll let that thing dry. I'm not planning on putting this in tonight. I just want to get it sealed up, so that way we can get it ready to put in the car. Just whenever I'm ready, then it's ready to go on. All right, on to the next thing. So on the vent tube right here, this piece that goes in, I had to take a pair of vice grips and actually grab it and twist it, and it pulls up out of there. And then when you get it set back in, I took a flat screwdriver and put on the edge and pecked it a few times and pushed it on back down into where it lives. Now, the rear bolt that goes to the rear mount, that thing, I don't think Nissan ever planned on that thing coming back out. So it's a lot harder to get out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna put some of the blue thread locker on it, because as tight as it was, I'd like for it to be that tight again. So on the back of it, I'm gonna put the Permatex blue thread locker. The gel is what I always use, and that's, you know, that's designed to be able to get it off with hand tools without having to use air tools and stuff, and that's one I use most of the time. All right, so yeah, this thing was crazy on there. Just so you know, when you take it off of the original Nissan plate, that thing is on there. All right. And so you replace that bolt. So you have to change that from your factory plate over to the Nissan plate, or over to the NISMO plate, and then change my speed sensors over. And I think there's a plug here and a plug in the bottom where your fluids go. Those will just come out of your original rear end and the cover, and you'll just replace those, and that should about have us ready to go into the car. I'm debating on going ahead and changing. I do have the aluminum inserts. I may try it without them. I'm debating on running it this weekend without those, and then trying with, and kind of make a decision there. I'm trying to make up my mind, because I do have another rear end, and so if I don't like it, I can just swap the rear end over back to the other one. So still kind of making up my mind what I'm going to do there, but we're not quite done with this one just yet. All right, so what the problem is, when you go from the 4-bolt or the 3-bolt to the 4-bolt, we actually have 4-bolt on ours, and I think these are the ones that come out in the automatic that have the longer shank like this. So what you end up having to do is all the way back to where the thread starts. You can see where it lifts right there, maybe. You have to cut it off. So you end up taking that nut out, take this plate off, and then you have to cut that short all the way back into roughly right in that area, somewhere right in there. So you cut that completely off, and then what you do is you put your 4-bolt flange off of your car onto this one. So, and that's how you change these over. I may have to take my 3-jaw puller for that, Joe. That's okay, we will. And voila, pulled it right off. And that's what we're looking at. So we got to cut that end somewhere in here from what I've researched it. And when you're doing these, you got to look at these seals. This is your front seal for where your drive shaft goes in. All right, so the sides, on each side you have an axle seal. Those things can leak too, so you want to check the condition of those. and when you put your actual your axles in, or the other piece back in, you want to lube some of this up if it's looked like it's been dried out, or put a little grease in there as you put your pieces together, because those things will leak. And you know, if you're just replacing one, I would definitely do it. If you're gonna, like what we're gonna do, we're gonna be drifting and yanking it around. We've welded up the rear end. If it leaks a little bit, it's no big deal, because welding it up and drifting it, it's probably not gonna last that long anyway. But if they look too bad, I may go ahead and replace them, but this actually looks pretty good. So that's something, if you're changing a rear end out on a 350Z, you just wanna look at these. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is an automatic one, and we're putting it on the 5-speed. And this is the only thing you have to do, is change from a 3-bolt flange to a 4-bolt flange, which will be on the 5 speeds, and you cut this thing off. So we should be about ready. Besides cutting that off, we're just about ready to pull the other rear end out, which I'm probably not going to do today. I was going to run that by you. If you do change the rear end on a 350Z, that's something you want to look at. All right, guys, thanks for watching our video today. I'm going to start doing some shorter videos. That way they don't drag on. We did the 5.3, and we've got quite a bit of that actually videoed. We're actually just going to show some basics, you know, maybe like their cover today and some other stuff. There's a lot of people that are just, you know, wanting to see what we got going on and kind of keep up with what we're going, not necessarily, you know, every nut and bolt that we're putting on and taking off. We still may do some of that on some jobs. I opted to go ahead and finish up I think a Honda Civic I was working on, and not go into all the detail of that, just to get the video knocked out and get on to the 350Z, because we're going to get into the drift world. So we're going to start bringing you some drift stuff. We're also going to do some wrench turning and show you some of that, but you're going to ride along with us in the car. This will be my first time going. My son, he's going to go, which he still doesn't know how to drive 5-speed or 6-speed, so we're going to work on that, try to, before this weekend. Hopefully, probably by the time you see this, we'll already be doing it, but hopefully you'll hang out with us and bear with us and get to watch us learn how to drift. All right, stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching our videos on YouTube. Don't forget to like our videos and subscribe. That's a big deal. You got to subscribe and be one of our subscribers. We definitely need that help. And then you got the little bell, so if you'll click on the bell, that'll alert you when we have our newest videos come out and all that. And we're on Instagram at Chesser Enterprises. Stay tuned, guys. We got more coming, and you get to watch us drift here maybe shortly. All right, thanks, guys.